If you wait to bet these MLB futures, you've already lost. I'm making these bets right now because once the market catches up, the value is already gone. I'm breaking down all 6 divisions, who's making the playoffs, who wins the pennant, and the World Series winner. I'll also cover the MVPs of each league, both Rookies of the Year, and both Cy Youngs, as the odds will change very fast. A quick note, the odds might change throughout the season, so what I'm giving you right now today is what at the moment that we're filming and at the time of the video. So let's get into the AL Rookie of the Year with Trey Savage, the young pitcher from the Toronto Blue Jays at plus 300, followed by Aka Murayama at plus 400, and Kazuma Okamoto at plus 450, and Carter Jensen at plus 500. Although Trey Savage had a great playoff season for the Toronto Blue Jays, he is considered a rookie this season. I don't think he's going to continue that. I think he might drop off. I do like either of the Japanese rookies, to really impress, but I think it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for both of those Japanese players. But the money I'm setting on is Carter Jensen. He is going to get a lot of play for the Royals. He'll be playing behind the plate and probably maybe a little bit DH, spelling Salvador Perez behind the plate. So I really like Carter Jensen at plus 500 for AL Rookie of the Year. That is where I'm putting my money at this year. Moving on to the NL Rookie of the Year, currently Connor Griffin is the favorite at plus 325, followed by Nolan McLean at plus 360, and JJ Heatherholt, hopefully I'm saying that right, at plus 400, and then long shot Bubba Chandler, the pitcher from the Pirates, at plus 1,000. I recently just saw a video of Connor Griffin, and he hit his first spring training home run. That kid is built for 20 home runs, 25 home runs, if he gets enough at-bats and he makes the big ball club. I think the Pirates are going to be able to compete. They won't be contenders for the division. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but this kid is special. I really like Connor Griffin for Rookie of the Year. If not, I do like JJ Heatherholt for the Cardinals. I think he's going to get enough at-bats as well. So my money is probably hedged between Connor Griffin and JJ for NL Rookie of the Year. All right, let's move to the Cy Young, starting with the AL, where Tarek Skubal is the favorite at plus 300, followed by Garrett Crochet at plus 400, Hunter Brown at plus 900, and Framber Valdez at plus 1,000, Jacob deGrom at plus 1,000. For the value, for me, I like Jacob deGrom. I think as long as he's healthy, he's got a real shot to win this. So if for the value, I would take Jacob deGrom to win the Cy Young. But honestly, Garrett Crochet is only getting better with the Red Sox. I think he's going to end up winning it. So if I had to put some money on one guy, it would be Garrett Crochet or Jacob deGrom for the value. But Garrett Crochet, in my opinion, at plus 400, he finished second in the AL Cy Young race behind Tarek Skubal. I just don't think Tarek Skubal is going to win 3 in a row. That would be pretty impressive, but we'll see if the Tigers even keep him throughout the season, because the Tigers would have to be in serious World Series contention for him not to be traded. So my pick is Garrett Crochet, and then for the value, Jacob deGrom. NL Cy Young, obviously, it's Paul Skeens at plus 250 is clearly the favorite, followed by Yoshinobu Yamamoto at plus 450, Hunter Green at plus 900, and then a long shot, I put Blake Snell at plus 1,200. Paul Skeens is beginning to prime, and you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up winning. He won the Cy Young last year. Let's say if it's not Paul Skeens, I like Yamamoto a lot. And I think Yamamoto, following that great playoff run and that great playoff pitching performance for the Dodgers, I think he's going to continue. He can only get better, and I actually like him to win the Cy Young, provided that the Dodgers give him enough innings, because they are so deep in their pitching staff. They're going to run 6 deep. That's why I don't think Blake Snell is even going to have enough innings, and the Dodgers are not going to let him pitch enough innings for him to even win the Cy Young, because honestly, if he was fully healthy and he was a workhorse, I would take Blake Snell for the money and for the odds that he is given in this Cy Young race. Now, Hunter Green, as far as that, I mean, I think the Reds can be a serious playoff contender, and Hunter Green is only getting better, but he'd have to be way above. He's got to look much better than he did last year, although he had a great performance last season. He's just got to up his level, and I think if he could reach that other level, he could battle Paul Skeens and Yamamoto for the Cy Young. But Paul Skeens to play it safe, but Yamamoto, I think I'm putting my money on Yamamoto to win the NL Cy Young. Moving to AL MVP, where Aaron Judge is the favorite again at plus 200, followed by Bobby Witt Jr. at plus 500, Cal Raleigh at plus 850, Julio Rodriguez at plus 1,000, and a couple of long shots, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at plus 1,200, and Jose Ramirez at plus 1,400. In my opinion, Cal Raleigh should have won the MVP because you're probably not going to see another performance with the way Cal Raleigh did, hitting 60 home runs from the catcher position. Also, he was a very good defensive catcher. We're probably not going to see that again. So I would probably think that Cal Raleigh may be trying to follow up from that great performance last year and that great season. I just don't see it. I really like Bobby Witt Jr. because I believe the Royals, I really think highly of the Royals. I think they're playoff contenders. I think they can make the playoffs. And in order for that to happen, Bobby Witt Jr. has to put up better numbers this season. I think it could be his coming out party, so to speak. And Aaron Judge, who always wins every year, I mean, he's going to definitely be in the mix, and it's obvious that he should be the favorite. But I like Bobby Witt Jr. for my money. As a long shot, maybe Julio Rodriguez, if he has that potential to steal 40 bases and hit 40 home runs, he has a serious shot. Vlad Guerrero's got to show me at least 45 home runs for that to be even possible as well and dominate the AL East. But my money's on Bobby Witt Jr. to win the AL MVP. Moving on to NL MVP, and to no surprise, Shohei Ohtani, the favorite, at minus 115, followed by Juan Soto at plus 800. Ronald Acuna Jr., who is back finally from injury, at plus 1,200. Corbin Carroll at plus 1,800. And then way down there, this is a long shot, Elly De La Cruz at plus 2,200. I mean, as long as Shohei Ohtani can hit you 40 home runs and steal a couple bases, I think those stats might go down because I think he's going to be pitching a whole lot more now. But if he is dominating pitching-wise with enough innings, he still has a serious shot to win the MVP. But Juan Soto, you could put your money on them because I think the Mets will be very competitive and Juan Soto is going to carry them. But the guy that I would probably, for the best value that I would put my money on, is Ronald Acuna Jr. I think he's hungry. He's capable of stealing 40 bases. He could definitely hit you 40 home runs. You know, other than Shohei Ohtani, who the only player that accomplished 50-50, Ronald Acuna is probably the only guy that can get you pretty close there. But realistically, 40-40, I think is very possible. And the Atlanta Braves, if they have any intentions of seriously competing to win the division, it will be Ronald Acuna carrying them to that destination. So I like Shohei Ohtani for my money, but for the value, Ronald Acuna Jr. at plus 1,200 doesn't seem bad for NL MVP. So now that we got through the individual accolades, let's move on to each division, starting with the AL East. The Yankees are favored at plus 180, followed by the Blue Jays at plus 250, the Red Sox at plus 310, the Orioles at plus 425, and the Rays at plus 3,000. Let's eliminate the Rays from the equation. They are not going to win the division, so that is obvious. The Orioles, on the other hand, I don't think they'll win the division, but they have a outside shot to contend for a wild card. Why do I say that? Because as long as they're healthy, and they acquired Pete Alonso from the Mets, they have still young talent. Their pitching is still good. They'll be able to be disruptors in this division, but I don't think they'll win the division. I like the Red Sox to seriously compete for a wild card, but the team that I'm looking for to win the division are the Blue Jays, plus 250. I think that is a steal because every year the odds makers like to make the Yankees as the favorite, and honestly, that is a trap. I don't think the Yankees are going to win the division. Number one, their pitching, it might be pretty good, but their defense is horrible. And I don't think they're better than the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are still stacked and they're still a World Series contender. So I like the Blue Jays to win the division. The Yankees, I'll tell you what though, the Yankees, realistically, logically, they can make the wild card. But as tough as this division is, if they have a bad season or if they're struggling, they might be out. And I know that's alarming to a lot of you Yankees fans, but I like the Red Sox in this division. They have the potential Cy Young Award winner in Garrett Crochet. I like the Red Sox in. I like the Blue Jays to win the division, and that's who I'm going with in the AL East. All right, moving on to the AL Central, where the Tigers are the favorite at plus 120, followed by the Royals at plus 225. The Guardians are followed at plus 370. The Twins at plus 950, and the White Sox at plus 4,000. We could eliminate the White Sox and the Twins from this equation. I'm only going to focus on these three other teams in the Central. I like the Tigers to win it as long as Tarek Skubal plays the entire season as a Detroit Tiger, or if Tarek Skubal is traded for the right pieces, so where their pitching is still sustainable, they will win the division. I like the Tigers to win the division. I like the Royals in the playoffs. I think they'll make the wild card. I like the makeup of their team. Salvador Perez is going to have, I think, a good season. I think Bobby Witt Jr. can win the MVP. And I think Carter Jensen can possibly win the AL Rookie of the Year. And if all those three things happen, I think the Royals are good enough to make the wild card. I just see the Guardians as just not enough. They made a great run catching up and being down about 11 games in July in the division to the Tigers, and they caught up and won the division. I just don't see that again. Their pitching is pretty decent, but their hitting is a problem, and I think their bullpen, it might be a little shaky, but I think it's good enough. But their problem is going to be their offense, and Jose Ramirez alone can't do it alone. I like the Tigers in the division, and I like the Royals in the wild card in this division. All right, let's go to the AL West, where the Mariners are the favorite at plus 100, followed by the Astros at plus 230, the Rangers at plus 340, the A's at plus 1600, and the Angels at plus 4,000. We could pretty much eliminate the Angels and the A's, although the A's are going to be competitive. They can beat you on any day, at any time, because their hitting is really good. They got these great young players, but their pitching is really bad. It's really poor. They just got to improve there. And if they had better pitching, then I would consider them as an outside wildcard contender. I'm going to focus on the top three. The Mariners, I think the Mariners have the best pitching, arguably, in the entire American League. And then the Astros that definitely are going to bounce back. Now they got Carlos Correa back. Altuve is still going to be good, and they got Johan Alvarez back. So I think that their hitting is going to be okay. Is their pitching going to be sustainable? We'll see. I mean, they lost Valdez to the Tigers, but they have enough pitching to compete. I like the Rangers as a sleeper. They may not win the division, but I got the Rangers in the wild card. I was wrong about the Rangers last year because they were hurt and they still had great pitching and they couldn't hit. That has been their biggest question mark. Is their offense going to be good enough for them to get in the playoffs? Like, their pitching is good enough. We'll see. I like the Rangers in. I like the Astros maybe fighting for that last wild card spot, but I like the Mariners to win the division and the Rangers to be in, and the Astros. As of right now, I got them competing for the last wild card spot. That's who I have in the AL West. Now, to recap all 6 teams that are going to make the playoffs, the AL East, I like the Toronto Blue Jays to win the division. In the Central, I like the Tigers. In the West, I like the Seattle Mariners. The 3 wild cards, I like the Royals. I like the Rangers. And if I had to choose one more, I'm going to choose the Red Sox. I'm going to choose those 6 to make the playoffs in the AL. All right, so let's get to the National League. We'll start with the National League East, where the Mets are the favorite at plus 165, followed by the Phillies at plus 180, the Braves at plus 195, the Marlins at plus 4,000, and the Nationals at plus 10,000. The reason I'm laughing is the Nationals and the Marlins, you could exclude them from the equation. The Braves I really like. I think they're going to have a bounce back year. The problem is they did suffer a huge injury to one of their vital pitchers of that pitching staff. So we'll see but Ronald Acuna is going to be back, so I think he'll be a factor. The Phillies, in my opinion, are going to win the division. I like them at plus 180. The Mets at plus 165, although they got Bo Bichette. For whatever reason, the odds makers like to make these New York teams. They want to give them the best odds and stuff like that, and that brings in most of the money. But in my opinion, for them to win the division, I don't think they got better pitching than the Phillies, and I like the Braves are going to be a factor. So I like the Phillies in, and I like the Mets and the Braves likely to make the wild card. So I will get to who I think is going to get in and who I think might be out, but I like those 3, but with the Phillies win the division in the NL East. All right, moving on to the NL Central, where the Cubs are the favorite at plus 115, followed by the Brewers at plus 250. And then after that, followed by the Reds at plus 420. And then the Pirates at plus 625. And then rounding out the division, the Cardinals at plus 3,000. To eliminate the Cardinals from the division, the Pirates are interesting because they're young, they're getting better, they got some nice young pitching. This is besides Paul Skeens. Bubba Chandler is also another quality pitcher. They got the potential NL Rookie of the Year with Connor Griffin. The Reds are pretty nice. I mean, they got Ellie De La Cruz, who has an outside chance to win the MVP. And I think if he plays at a different level, for the Reds to even consider winning the division, Hunter Green has got to have a Cy Young season, and Ellie De La Cruz has got to have a serious MVP type season for the Reds to win the division. But I like the Reds as far as an outside chance to make the wild card. I think the Brewers are going to be still relevant in this division, but the Cubs, I believe they're going to win it. I had the Cubs winning last year. I fell short on that prediction, but I think they're more fortified in their pitching. They added Alex Bregman that gives them leadership and solidarity at third base. So I like the Cubs winning the division, and I like maybe the Brewers and an outside chance of the Reds competing for a wild card spot in the Central. All right, and last but not least, the NL West, where surprisingly the Dodgers are the favorite at minus 800, followed by the Padres at plus 850, then the Giants at plus 1,800, the Diamondbacks at plus 2,200, and the Rockies at 30,000. So the Rockies, forget about it. I mean, they're probably going to go through another 100-loss season. I mean, should I even speak about who's going to win the division? It's going to be the Dodgers, and it's just a matter of by how many. Now, the Padres will be able to compete. I actually like what they did. They basically went through the entire offseason just picking up, a couple of good pitchers that are talented, but basically off the scrap heap. It's like, the Dodgers shop at Rodeo Drive while the Padres are shopping at the Dollar Tree, and they managed to pick up, Walker Buehler and Herman Marquez, another guy. So if those two guys work out for them with, Musgrove and King, then they can compete. Their offense is going to be good enough. Their pitching is going to be the issue. That's going to be the challenge for the Padres. And honestly, their championship window is just continued to dwindle. Can they make the wild card? Yes. I like the Diamondbacks also in this division to try to compete for a wild card. They added, the third baseman, Nolan Arenado from the Cardinals. And, Corbin Carroll, although he fractured his hand, he'll be back early in the season. So I think that won't be an issue there. But I think Arizona is going to be able to compete. And the Giants are a little bit of an unknown because, they did add Arise, the first baseman. Now he's going to be playing second base for the Giants, and he's the best pure hitter in the National League. So we don't even know how that's going to end up looking like. But the Dodgers, no brainer, going to win the division. And as far as the wild card, I mean, for right now, I'm going to consider the Padres as one of the favorites as in the playoffs. But I like the Diamondbacks as an outside shot. I think the Giants are going to probably be hovering around 500. So you kind of don't know where that's going. But I like the Dodgers. It's no brainer to win the division. All right, so there you have it for the NL. My division winners, the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Phillies. And then my wild card, I'm going to say the Mets, the Braves, both are going to get in. And then it's going to be a dogfight between the Reds and the Padres of Arizona. If I had to take one, you know what? I'm going to actually take the risk and take the Reds. Just like they did last year. They were the last team to get in. I think they get in again. So I like the Mets, the Phillies, along with the Braves, 3 in that division. Then the Cubs and the Reds in the Central. And then the Dodgers win the division with no wild cards coming out of the West. Those are the 6 I see in the playoffs. Now, because I have the Royals and the Rangers in, you could also bet a yes or no whether they get in. The Royals getting in the playoffs pays out at plus 160. The Rangers getting in the playoffs pays out at plus 120. And since I predicting that the Yankees may not make the playoffs, which is a heavy risk, and I understand that, if you bet against the Yankees making the playoffs, that pays out at plus 300. And same thing with the Astros. If you bet against the Astros making the wild card or making the playoffs in any fashion, that also pays out at plus 135. So those are my value picks as far as teams making in or out of the playoffs this season. All right, now that we have our playoff teams, let's get in who's going to win the pennant from each league. Let's start from the American League, where the Yankees are the favorite at plus 320, followed by the Mariners at plus 550, the Blue Jays at plus 600, the Red Sox at plus 700, the Astros at plus 800, the Tigers at plus 1100, and the Rangers at plus 1400. Obviously, the money is on the Yankees because, as long as there's a lot of Yankee fans and they're all gamblers, they're all going to pour in for the Yankees. I like the Mariners as a strong shot to get in. I mean, the Blue Jays to, repeat winning the American League, it's possible. It's not a bad bet as well, but I am high on the Rangers simply because I think their pitching can get them really far as long as they can hit. If they figure out their hitting, just like the Mariners did, then I like the Rangers to go far. So as far as the value, I like the Rangers at 1,400, but the safe bet, the Blue Jays and the Mariners to win the AL pennant. All right, let's move on to the NL, where the Dodgers are the favorite at plus 130. The Mets and the Phillies at plus 650. The Braves at plus 750. The Cubs at plus 900. I think the Dodgers are going to achieve history and they're going to get back to the World Series again. So I have the Dodgers winning that. My safe bet is putting my money on the Dodgers to get to the World Series and accomplishing a possible three-peat. So I am taking the Dodgers. Let's say if by any chance the Dodgers get eliminated, I like the Phillies a lot. You know, the Phillies are potent. They have enough pitching. I think that was the team that can play well against the Dodgers in the NL. The Mets, I just think that there's still some holes there. The Cubs, yes, I like the Cubs pitching, but I don't know if the hitting is going to be good enough to compete against the Dodgers in a 7-game series. I am taking the Dodgers for the money to get back to the World Series. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we finally got to the last of our predictions, and that is predicting the World Series winner. Let's get to the odds. The Dodgers are obviously the favorite at plus 230, the Yankees at plus 950, the Mets at plus 1300, the Mariners at plus 1300, the Blue Jays at plus 1400. I think it's a no-brainer for me. You know, full disclosure, yes, I am a Dodger fan, but I also like to see history. The last time there was a three-peat to be done, that was the Yankees. And I think this Dodger team is well equipped to win the World Series again. I like the Dodgers to win the World Series and achieve history and achieve that three-peat, that historic three-peat that obviously has jump-started a dynasty by winning back-to-back. I think this further just escalates this dynasty into another level if they're able to accomplish this three-peat. But I like the Dodgers to win this. If I had to make a choice of who are they going to play in the World Series, I didn't predict the Blue Jays. I had predicted the Rangers and I was wrong. I'm still going to stick to the Rangers that could possibly make the World Series to play against the Dodgers. The only other team that I like to play the Dodgers in the World Series are the Seattle Mariners because their pitching is very good and their hitting is much better. And they've improved on certain areas that they had problems with, especially, and that was their hitting. And I think they have a very good complement of players that can play against the Dodgers, other than what the Blue Jays did because they were within 2 outs of winning the World Series. But I like the Mariners, other than the Rangers are a long shot. That's the prediction. I have the Dodgers winning the World Series. And hopefully, if I'm right, it will be against the Mariners or against the Rangers. So that's my pick. All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all of my predictions for the season. So I wish you guys the best of luck. Hopefully you make those future bets as soon as possible before those odds change. And if this video has helped you, please hit the like and subscribe. I would like to boost up those subscriptions and boost up the views. And I will do my best to make some more videos, not only on sports betting, but some other type of sports content as well. So during the season, if you choose to like hedge on some of those early bets that are not working out and you see that, you know, a team or an individual has gotten into a good start, and you want to hedge there, you can go ahead and do so. Just also a quick note that all the odds that I showed you in this video were by Caesars Sportsbook. So if you haven't gone to Caesars Sportsbook, you'll be able to see those odds there. I am not being paid or sponsored by Caesars Sportsbook, by the way. It's just the matter of getting you the information possible so you can make the right future bet. Other than that, hopefully you guys have a good season, and hopefully I wish you the best of luck in all your bets, and I'll see you in the next video.